is Cris Plata. I'm a musician. I'm originally from South Texas, and I wound up in the Wisconsin area because my parents were migrant workers, and we used to come up to do a lot of the harvesting of the tomatoes and corns and peas. My father had a guitar, and he was teaching my brothers to play it. When he would leave to do work, he would always tell me, "Now you leave that guitar alone, don't touch it." So as soon as he would leave out the door and I'd make sure they were going down the road, I'd pull it out and start playing it. My dad would come home, he says, "Were you playing the guitar?" I go, "No, I wasn't playing it." He goes, "Well, it's out of tune now." I said, "No, it's not. See all the keys here? They're all aligned in the same place." And that's how I thought the guitar should be, that the keys should be this way and that way. So eventually he said, "Look, if you are going to be serious about playing guitar, let me show you a few chords." So he showed me the G chord. And so for about 8 or 9 years being a guitar player that young, I could play the G, the C, and the D. And every song was that. And the thing that's funny is still a lot of the songs that I write are still G, C, and D. So I didn't get very far as a guitar player. My dad was a songwriter. Sunday mornings, it was his time to pull the guitar out and start singing these songs. And I'd say to him, "I never heard that one. What is that one?" He said, "Well, I wrote that one." I go, "Really?" I said, "You can write songs?" He goes, "Yeah, anybody can write songs." And I said, "Well, how do you do it?" He goes, "Well, you just do it." My father was never very instructive. There was a lot of musical talent in the migrant camps. They would share a little bit, but it was very difficult for me to pick up on what they were doing because they didn't devote a whole lesson to it. They would just say, "Here, put your fingers here, and this is how you play it. This is a strum." I would hear singers, and I heard these guys singing this just fantastic music, very melodic. And so I walked up to them and politely asked, I said, "Excuse me, sir, what kind of music are you guys playing? What is that?" And they were Jamaican workers, and he said, "Oh man, this be called rocksteady." So I was exposed to Jamaican music without even knowing it. When we picked tomatoes in Tipton, Indiana, I was exposed to bluegrass music, which it isn't in Texas, but I was never exposed to it. It was a very hard life, very poor people doing it, long hours, in the blistering sun, or getting pesticides sprayed on you and stuff. But the music to me was what I choose to remember about that life. It allowed me to expand my horizons. I also have a lot of different colors on my palette to be able to draw from to write songs. When I first started writing songs, it was basically, I think a lot of songwriters wind up in this boat. You write the love song because you like some girl or you like some boy. When I went off to college, I went to Austin, Texas, meeting people that were really great songwriters. I was going like, how do those guys get that feeling across of what they're singing about? And that's when I started writing songs about horses, animals. And then I started going even further back and wrapping my arms around my indigenous background, my Native American background. And I started writing about Indians, people on the res, and Mexican people that were having a hard time dealing with the life they were living. So that was where my songwriting is starting to change.
I hear that morning dove a cooing, hear that morning dove a crying.
I decided that I was going to take a shot at being a professional musician. And then when I decided to record my first album, I went to see a gentleman that was playing in Sun Prairie with a country band, and his name was Clyde Stubblefield. And then my wife started playing bass at the time, so that was the nucleus of the band that I started. And through Clyde, I met other musicians, and then the gigs started getting better.
Si le estoy mirando, me estoy acordando cuando no la conocía.
maybe I wasn't the first, but I was pretty close to being the first guy that started doing conjunto music. And that was the thing that differentiated me from a lot of the other performers here in town, is that I could, do this style of music. Was from South Texas. And so I introduced a lot of South Texas music to the Madison area, and they embraced it. They welcomed me with open arms, which a lot of places didn't.
Well, I had a brother, had another.
What keeps me going is that I don't know everything. I want to still learn how to play the guitar better. I still want to learn how to play the accordion better. And also, I still have the creative drive to write songs. When you sing for people, you give a little bit of yourself. Even if you don't know it, a little piece of you goes out to them and you touch them. The thing that I found out about songwriting is that it's kind of an invisible art, because you basically just have words and music to express yourself. And it's time travel, because you can go back, you can go forward, or you can find out if this person has a different point of view from you. Even though you're speaking, they're speaking through you. When I found myself in the lowest points of my life, not having any money, having prejudice put on you, getting pulled out of school when all your friends were there, and having to make new friends, the way that I would kind of make it better for me was to sit down and play my guitar and sing. And it's kind of like an elixir that you take that makes everything a little bit better. Not great, but it allows you, in order to be able to cope with the stress that you're under. And so that's the thing that I always gravitate to. And I'm so happy that I have that outlet, because I think without that I would be more nuts than I am now.